Understanding Radharani through Srila Prabhupada. This is one article which I compiled on from various lectures, letters, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Srimad Bhagavatam, all the qualities of Radharani, what Prabhupada is for. Srimati Radharani is fully spiritual as Krishna. No one should consider her to be material. She is definitely not like the conditioned souls who have material bodies, gross and subtle.
नहीं वो करते हैं, हमने किया था उसी दिन जिस दिन आए थे चंदन ने वो सोचे
Understanding Radharani through Srila Prabhupada. First, Srimati Radharani is a fully spiritual personality as Krishna. No one should consider her to be material. She is definitely not like the conditioned souls who have material bodies, gross and subtle, covered by material senses. She is all spiritual and both her body and mind are of same spiritual embodiment. Because her body is spiritual, her senses are also spiritual. Thus her body, mind and senses fully shine in love of Krishna. This is from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela 4.71. Next, don't try to understand Radha Krishna very quickly. It is a very big subject. If we want to understand Radha Krishna very quickly, then there will be so many Prakrit Sahajiyas. In India, there are Prakrit Sahajiyas, just like Radha Krishna dancing. Radha Krishna has become a plaything. The painting Radha Krishna, they are making so much of nonsense. Radha Krishna philosophy has to be understood by the liberated person, not by conditioned souls. So we shall await for the fortunate moment when we are liberated. Then we shall understand Radha Krishna Pranaya Bhukriti. Because Krishna and Radha, they are not on the material plane. Try to understand. This is the Goswami's analysis. That Krishna is the Supreme Brahman. The Supreme Brahman cannot accept anything material. So Radha is not a material being. This is from Srila Prabhupada lecture, August 30, 1968. Next. This exchange of feeling between Krishna and Radharani is very difficult to understand unless one is elevated to the platform of pure goodness. Such transcendental reciprocation is not even possible to understand from the platform of material goodness. One has to actually transcend material goodness in order to understand. This is because the exchange of feelings between Radha and Krishna is not the subject matter of this material world. Even the greatest mental speculator cannot understand this directly or indirectly. Material activities are manifested either for the gross body or the subtle mind. But this exchange of feelings between Radha and Krishna is beyond such manifestation and beyond intellectual mental speculation. It can only be understood by purified senses freed from all designations of the material world. This is from Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 31. Next. The Radharani. The name has come from the word Aradhyate. Aradhana. Aradhana means worshipping. So everyone is meant, beginning from Radharani and her expansion Lakshmi in Vaikuntha. Lakshmi Sahasrashata Sambhrama Sevemanam Govindamadi Purusham Tamam Bhajam. Here we worship Mother Lakshmi Ji, goddess of fortune, to receive some favor. But in the Vaikuntha world, there are many hundreds, thousands of Lakshmis, Lakshmi Sahasrashata, and there are Sambhrama Sevemanam. With great respect, they are engaged in serving the Supreme Lord. So we, being expansion of the spiritual Lakshmi or Radharani, or our duty is to serve Radharani and through Radharani to serve Krishna. This is Krishna Consciousness Movement. Srila Prabhupada lecture, December 17, 1975. Next. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord residing in his own realm, Golok, with Radha resembling his own spiritual figure, the embodiment of the ecstatic potency possessed of the 64 artistic activities in the company of his confidant embodiments of the extensions of her bodily form, permeated and vitalized by her ever blissful spiritual rasa. Shri Brahma Samhita 5.37. Next. Shri Krishna cannot enjoy anything that is internally different from him. Therefore, Radha and Shri Krishna are identical. The Sandhini portion of Shri Krishna's internal potency has manifested the all attractive form of Shri Krishna, and the same internal potency in the Radharani feature has presented Srimati Radharani, who is the all attraction for the all attractive. No one can match Srimati Radharani in the transcendental pastimes of Shri Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 4.71. Next. To perform devotional service means to follow in the footsteps of Radharani, and devotees in Vrindavan put themselves under the care of Radharani in order to achieve perfection in their devotional service. In other words, devotional service is not an activity of the material world. It is directly under the control of Radharani. In Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the Mahatmas or great souls are under the protection of the Devi Prakriti, the internal energy, Radharani. So, being directly under the control of the internal potency of Krishna, devotional service attracts even Krishna himself. This is NOD chapter 1. Next. Regarding your question about our relationship with Srimati Radharani, she is the internal energy, we are marginal energy. Marginal means sometimes internal, sometimes external. When we are under internal energy, that is our normal life, and when we are under the external energy, that is abnormal life. This is Prabhupada letter, August 25, 1969. Next. In his book Ujjwal Neelmani, Rup Goswami explains the characteristics of Srimati Radharani. He points out that the body of Radharani is in itself an actual evolution of transcendental pleasure. That body is decorated with flowers and fragrant aromas and complete with transcendental love of Krishna. That is the personification of his pleasure potency. That transcendental body takes bath 3 times. First in water of mercy, second in water of youthful beauty, and third in the water of youthful lustre. After taking bath 3 times in this way, her body is covered with shining garments and decorated with Krishna's personal beauty, which is compared to cosmetics. Thus, her beauty constitutes the highest artistry. Her body is also decorated with the ornaments of spiritual ecstasy. Trembling, tears, petrification, perspiration, choking, cessation of all bodily functions due to transcendental pleasures, stumbling, high blood pressures and madness. This is Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, chapter 31. Next. The Radharani, mellows relished by the gopis in Braja, is super excellently featured in Srimati Radharani. Mature assimilation of the transcendental humor of conjugal love is represented by Srimati Radharani, whose feelings are incomprehensible even to the Lord himself. The intensity of her loving service is the highest form of ecstasy. No one can surpass Srimati Radharani in relishing the transcendental mellow qualities of the Lord. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 4.50. So the lesson is that we should not treat Radharani as an ordinary girl or Krishna as an ordinary man. They are supreme absolute truth. But in absolute truth, there is a pleasure potency, and that is exhibited in the dealings of Radha and Krishna. Next, Radharani's identity. Radha Krishna pranaya vikriti arhadini shakti rasma. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 1.5. The Alhadini.
नहीं वही है दोनों टू है yes ये किसका है आज मॉन्टो का है
Radharani's identity. Radha Krishna Pranay Vikrite Alhadini Shakti Rasmat. The Alhadini Shakti is manifested as Radharani, but Krishna and Radharani are the same, although one is potent and other is potency. Srimati Radharani is the tender-hearted feminine counterpart of the Supreme Whole, resembling the perfectional stage of the worldly feminine nature. Therefore, the mercy of Radharani is available very readily to the sincere devotees. And once she recommends such a devotee to Lord Krishna, the Lord at once accepts the devotee's admittance into his association. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 2.3.23. It is not that Radharani is separate from Krishna. Radharani is also Krishna. And there is no difference between the energy and the energetic. Without energy, there is no meaning to the energetic. And without the energetic, there is no energy. Similarly, without Krishna, without Radha, there is no meaning to Krishna. And without Krishna, there is no meaning to Radha. Because of this, the Vaishnava philosophy first of all pays obeisances to and worships the internal pleasure potency of the Supreme Lord. Thus, the Lord and his potency are always referred to as Radha Krishna. Similarly, those who worship Narayan first of all utter the name of Lakshmi as Lakshmi Narayan. Therefore, those who worship Ram first utter the name of Sita. Next, the Lord appears in female form if necessary, but his perpetual form is Purusha because he is original male. The feminine feature of the Lord is displayed by goddess of fortune Lakshmi, Radharani, Sita, etc. All these goddesses of fortune are servitors of the Lord and they are not the supreme as falsely imagined by the impersonalists. This is Srimad Bhagavatam 4.8.87. Next. Radharani is Devi Mai. Just like we are in our material conditioned life, we are under the material energy. Similarly, in our liberated state, we have to become under the spiritual energy. That spiritual energy is Radharani. Srimati Radharani is the principal head of all such goddesses of fortune, and therefore she is the pleasure counterpart of the Lord and is non-different from Krishna. Radharani is the manifestation of the pleasure potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. When the Supreme Lord wants to derive transcendental pleasure, he has to create a woman from his internal potency. Thus, the tendency to be attracted by a womanly beauty is natural because it exists in the spiritual world. In the material world, it is reflected pervertedly, and therefore there are so many inabilities. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.31.38. Next, Durga and Radharani. Devotees of Krishna try to remain under the guidance of Devi Prakriti personified, Srimati Radharani. Materialists, however, are under the control of Apara Prakriti personified as goddess of Kali or Durga. Durga is the expansion of the internal energy of Radharani. In that sense, Durga is the expansion of Radharani. Letter to Uddhava. Next, enchanter of Krishna. The Lord sometimes becomes mad after the beauty of Radharani. Poets describe that under those circumstances, although Lord Krishna is Madan Mohan, he becomes Madan Daha or enchanted by the beauty of Radharani. Actually, the Lord's beauty is super excellent, surpassing even the beauty of Lakshmi in Vaikuntha. The devotees of the Lord in the Vaikuntha planets want to see the Lord as the most beautiful, but the devotees in Gokul or Krishna Lok want to see Radharani is more beautiful than Krishna. Qualities of Radharani: extremely compassionate. If one takes shelter of Vrindavan under Vrindavaneshwari, Srimati Radharani, certainly all the problems of his life are solved very easily. Srimad Bhagavatam 4.8.24. If a devotee approaches Srimati Radharani to offer some service to Krishna, even Srimati Radharani thinks that this devotee is greater than she. Srimad Bhagavatam 7.1.27. The very name Radha suggests that Srimati Radharani is eternally the topmost mistress of the comforts of Sri Krishna. As such, she is the medium transmitting the living entity's service to Sri Krishna. Devotees in Vrindavan therefore seek the mercy of Srimati Radharani in order to be recognized as loving servitors of Sri Krishna. Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela 4.56. Next. The pure devotees of the Lord take shelter of Para Prakriti, the internal potency of the Lord, called Lakshmi Devi, Sita Devi, Srimati Radharani, or Srimati Rukmani Devi, and thus they become actually Mahatmas, all great souls. Srimad Bhagavatam 3.6.38. Radha Krishna affairs not mundane lust. Actually, Radha Krishna is the exchange of love, but not ordinary love. Krishna's embracing Radha or his dancing with the cowherd girls is the rasa dance are generally not understood by ordinary men. Because they consider these pastimes in the light of mundane lust, they foolishly think that Krishna is like themselves and that he embraces the gopis just as an ordinary man embraces a young girl. Some people thus become interested in Krishna because they think that his religion allows indulgence in sex. That is not Krishna Bhakti, love of Krishna, but Prakriti Sahajya, materialistic lust. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Radha Krishna. When Krishna desired to enjoy his pleasure potency, he manifested himself in the separate form of Radharani. And when he wanted to understand himself through the agency of Radha, he united with Radharani, and that unification is called Lord Chaitanya. Next, Antaha Krishna refers to one who is always thinking of Krishna. The attitude is a predominant feature of Srimati Radharani. Even though many devotees always think of Krishna, none can surpass the gopis, among whom Radharani is the leader in thinking of Krishna. Radharani's Krishna consciousness surpasses that of all other devotees. Lord Chaitanya accepted the position of Srimati Radharani to understand Krishna. Therefore, he was always thinking of Krishna in the same way as Radharani. By thinking of Lord Krishna, he always overlapped Krishna. Next, from Nectar of Devotion, in his book Stavavali, Sri Raghunath Das Goswami has prayed for the mercy of Radharani, who was so captivated by the flute vibrations of Krishna that she immediately asked information of his whereabouts from the residents in the Vrindavan forest. Upon first seeing Krishna, she was filled with such ecstatic love and pleasure that she began to scratch her ears. The damsels of Vraja and Radharani were very expert in talking cunningly. So as soon as they saw Krishna, they began their talkings. And Krishna, pretending to go for some flowers for them, immediately left that place and entered into a mountain cave. This is another instance of eager loving exchanges on the parts of both gopis and Krishna.
What do you mean? What do you say? He I said you took stuff out from the computer. What are you?
Yes, sir.
In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that the Lord is never to be found by becoming a great scholar of Vedic literatures, but he is very easily approachable through his pure devotee. In Vrindavan, all the pure devotees pray for the mercy of Srimati Radharani, the pleasure potency of Lord Krishna. Srimati Radharani is a tender-hearted feminine counterpart of the Supreme Whole, resembling the perfectional state of the worldly feminine nature. Therefore, the mercy of Radharani is available very readily to the sincere devotees. And once she recommends such a devotee to the Lord Krishna, the Lord at once accepts the devotee's admittance into his association. The conclusion is, therefore, that one should be more serious about seeking the mercy of the devotee than that of the Lord directly. And by one's doing so, by the goodwill of the devotee, the natural attraction for the service of the Lord will be revived. Next, festival lectures. On behalf of the pure devotees of Krishna, Rup Goswami is praying, Karunam Kurumai, Karunam Kurumai, Karuna Bharite. Oh, my worshipable Radharani, you are full of mercy. Srimati Radharani Radhastami lecture, Montreal, 30 August 1968. All the devotees in Vrindavan, they are worshippers of Radharani. Hari Nishkuta Vrinda Vipineshe, Vrishabhanu Dadi Navashashilekhe. And she appeared as the daughter of King Vrishabhanu and her companion Lalita Sakhi and Vishakha Sakhi and the devotees. So, on behalf of pure devotees of Krishna, Rup Goswami is praying, Karunam Kurumai Karuna Bharite. Oh, my worshipable Radharani, you are full of mercy. So I am begging of your mercy because you are so merciful. Very easily you offer bestow your mercy. So I am begging your mercy. Karunam Karumai Karuna Bharite Sanaka Sanatana Varanita Charite. Now somebody may say, oh, you are so great, learned scholar. You are so great, saintly person. And you are begging mercy from an ordinary girl? How is that? Unquote. Therefore, Rup Goswami says, quote, oh, this is not ordinary girl. Unquote. Sanaka Sanatana Varanita Charite. Quote, this girl's description is possible to be made by great saintly persons like Sanak Sanatan. She is not ordinary. Unquote. So, the lesson is that we should not treat Radharani as ordinary girl or Krishna as ordinary man. They are the supreme absolute truth. But in the absolute truth, there is the pleasure potency, and that is exhibited in the dealings of Radha and Krishna. And Radha's expansion of all the gopis, and Krishna is the supreme Lord. Radharani is Haripriya, very dear to Krishna. So, if we approach Krishna through Radharani, through the mercy of Radharani, then it becomes very easy. Radhastami lecture, London, August 19, 1971. Radharani is Haripriya, very dear to Krishna. So, if you approach Krishna through Radharani, through the mercy of Radharani, then it becomes very easy. If Radharani recommends that, quote, this devotee is very nice, unquote, then Krishna immediately accepts, however full I may be. Because it is recommended by Radharani, Krishna accepts. Therefore in Vrindavan you will find all the devotees, they are chanting more Radharani's name than Krishna's. Wherever you will go, you will find the devotees are addressing Jai Radhe. You will find still in Vrindavan, they are glorifying Radharani. They are more interested in worshipping Radharani. Because however fallen I may be, if some way or other I can please Radharani, then it is very easy for me to understand Krishna. That internal potency is Radharani. Prabhupada. Today is birth appearance day of Srimati Radharani, Radhastami. 15 days after Krishna's birth, Radharani appeared. Radharani is Krishna's pleasure potency. Radha Krishna Pranaya Virakti Ladini Shakti. The Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, has got varieties of energies as it is confirmed in Vedic literature. Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shruyate Natasya Karyam Karanam Cha Vidyate. The Supreme Lord has nothing to do personally. Natasya Karyam. He has nothing to do. Just like here, in this material world, we find some very big man, political head or business head. Personally, he has nothing to do because he has got so many assistants, secretaries, that personally he hasn't God to do anything. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, full with six opulences. Why? He will have to do something? No. He has got many assistants. Sarvatah Panipadasta. In the Bhagavad Gita, he has got everywhere his hands and legs. You will find Krishna. He has nothing to do. He is simply engaged in enjoyment with gopis and Radharani. He is not engaged in killing the demons. When Krishna kills the demons, he is Vasudeva Krishna. He is not original Krishna. Krishna expands himself. First expansion is Baladev. From Baladev, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, Aniruddha, Vasudeva. So by the Vasudeva feature, he acts in Mathura and Dwarka. But Krishna, in his original feature, he remains in Vrindavan. One of the greatest fiction writers in Bengal, Bankim Chand Chatterjee, he misunderstood Krishna that Krishna of Vrindavan, Krishna of Dwarka and Krishna of Mathura, they are different persons. Krishna is the same, one, but he can expand himself in millions and trillions of forms. Advaitamachyutamanadimanantarupam Adyam Purana Purusham. Advaitam. Although Anantarupam, still he is Adyam Purana Purusham. Advaita. There is no distinction. So, this Krishna, when he wants to enjoy, what kind of enjoyment he will have? That has been discussed by Srila Jiva Goswami. Krishna is Param Brahman, Brahman, Paramatma. Then Param Brahman, absolute truth, three different features. Someone is realizing the absolute truth as impersonal Brahman. Gyanis, those who are trying to understand the absolute truth by mental speculation, by dint of his own knowledge, he is realizing the absolute truth as impersonal Brahman. And those who are trying to understand the absolute truth by meditation, yogis, they realize the absolute truth as Paramatma. Paramatma is situated in everyone's heart. Ishvara sarva bhutanam hrideshi arjuna tishtati. That feature, Paramatma feature. Andantarastam paramanuchayantarastam govindamadi purusham tamaham bhajami. That Paramatma feature is one expansion of Krishna. It is stated in the Bhagavad Gita. Atva bahunetena kimjnatena tavarjuna ekamshena vistavyaham ekamshena.
My finished medicine morning.
When Krishna and Arjuna was trying to understand about different potential existence of Krishna, so he explained in the 12th chapter, quote, I am this, amongst them I am this, amongst them, unquote, like that. And he concluded that, quote, how far I shall go on, better try to understand that only one plenary portion of me, by entering this universe, the whole cosmic manifestation is existing, unquote. Ekam shena stito jagat. This material world is existing on one plenary portion of Krishna, and Krishna enters. Andantarastam paramanuchayantarastam. He enters within this universe. Without his entering, this universe cannot exist. Just like without the spirit souls entering within this body cannot exist. As soon as the spirit soul goes out, immediately the body is useless. However, the body may be prime minister or anything else. As soon as the soul is out of this body, he is not worth even a farthing. Similarly, because Krishna enters within this universe, therefore the universe has value. Otherwise, it is simply a lump of matter. It has no value. Ekam shena stito jagat. So, try to understand Krishna. And when Krishna wants to enjoy, what kind of enjoyment that shall be? Try to understand this point. Krishna is so great. God is great. Everyone knows. So when the great wants to enjoy, then what quality of enjoyment what that should be? That is to be understood. Radha Krishna. Therefore, Swarup Damodar Goswami has written a verse, Radha Krishna Pranaya Virakti. The loving affairs of Radha and Krishna is not ordinary. these material loving affairs, although it appears like that, but one who cannot understand Krishna, avajananti mama mudha, rascals, fools, they understand Krishna as ordinary man. As soon as we take Krishna as one of us, manusham tanumashritam param bhavam ajanantah. These rascals, they do not know param bhavam. They try to imitate Krishna's Leela, Ras Leela. There are many rascals. So these things are going on. There is no understanding of Krishna. To understand Krishna is very difficult. Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschidadati siddhe yatataamapi siddhanam kashin mam vetti tattvataha. Out of millions of persons, one may try to make his life perfect. Everyone is working like animals. There is no question of perfection of life. The animal propensity is eating, sleeping, mating and defending. So everyone is engaged like animals. They have no other business, just like animals. Hogs, dogs, whole day and night working. Where is stool? Where is stool? And as soon as he gets some stool, gets some fat. Where is sex? Where is sex? No consideration of mother or sister. That is hog life. So human life is not meant for hog civilization. So modern civilization is hog civilization. Although it is polished with shirt and coat. So we shall try to understand. This Krishna consciousness movement is for understanding Krishna. For understanding Krishna, it requires little labor, austerity, penance, tapasya, brahmacharyena, shamena, damena cha. Tapasya. One has to undergo tapasya, brahmacharya, celibacy, tapasya. Brahmacharya means stopping sex life or controlling sex life. Therefore, Vedic civilization is from the very beginning to train the boys to become brahmachari, celibacy. Not that modern days, the schools, boys and girls, 10 years, 12 years, they are enjoying. The brain is spoiled. They cannot understand higher things. The brain tissues are lost. So, without becoming brahmachari, nobody can understand spiritual life. Tapasya, brahmacharyena, shamena, damena cha. Shama means controlling the senses, controlling the mind. Damena, controlling the senses. Tyagena, shauchena, cleanliness. Tyaga. Tyaga means charity. These are the processes for understanding oneself. Self-realization. But in this age, it is very difficult to undergo all these processes. Practically, it is impossible. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya, Krishna himself, has made himself easily available by one process. Hare Nama, Hare Nama, Hare Nameva Kevalam, Kalo Nastaiva, Nastaiva, Nastaiva Gatiranyatha. In this age, Kali Yuga is considered to be the most fallen age. We are thinking that we are making very much advance, but it is the most fallen age because people are becoming like animals. As the animals have no other interest than 4 principles of bodily necessities: eating, sleeping, mating and defending. So in this age, people are interested with 4 principles of bodily want. They have no information of the soul. Neither they are prepared to realize what is soul. That is the defect of this age. But human form of life especially is meant for realization of himself. What I am. That is the mission of human life. Athato Brahma Jigyasa. This life is meant for inquiring about Brahman. Brahman, Paramatma, Bhagwan. These inquiries should be there. Jigyasu. They are called Jigyasu. Brahma Jigyasa. As we inquire every morning, what is the news today? Immediately we pick newspaper. That inquisitiveness is there, but we are inquiring very best things only. There is no desire to inquire about highest possibility, Brahmajna. That is the lack of this modern civilization. Inquiring how to earn money. Divach arthaya rajan kutumba bharanenava. Not only in this age. In this age it has become the principal factor. But in this material world, everyone is engaged simply for these bodily necessities of life. Nidraya hriyate naktam. At night they sleep very sound sleep, snoring or sex life. Nidraya hriyate naktam vayavena cha vavayaha. In this way they are wasting time. And at daytime, divacharthaya rajan. And during daytime, where is money? Where is money? Where is money? Arthya kutumba bharnena va. And as soon as one gets money, then how to purchase things for family? That's all. Shopping, storing. This is the engagement of materialistic life. Out of that, one who is actually intelligent, Manushanam sahasreshu kaschidetati siddhaye. Out of many such foolish persons engage in sleeping, mating, earning money, and providing family with nice apartment and food. This is the general occupation. So out of many thousands of men like that, one is inquisitive how to make perfect this human form of life. Manushanam sahasreshu kaschidetati siddhaye. Siddhaye. Siddhi means perfection. So this life is meant for perfection. What is perfection? Perfection means that we do not want miserable condition of life. And we have to get out of it. That is perfection. Everyone is trying to get off miserable condition of life, but they do not know what is the actual position of miserable life. Miserable condition of life. Tritapayatantaha. So this is called mukti or liberation from the misery. Atyantika dukkha nivritti. Dukkha. Dukkha means distress. So everybody is trying to get out of distress, but he does not know what is the ultimate goal of getting out of distress. Nate vidhu. They do not know. Nate vidhu swata gati Vishnu. One can be out of distress when he approaches Vishnu. Tad Vishnum paramam padam sada pashyanti surya. Tad Vishnu param padam. The Vishnu planet. Just like here in the material world, they are trying to go to the moon planet. But these foolish people do not know what they will gain. Even they go to the moon planet. It is one of the material planets. Krishna has already said in the Bhagavad Gita, Abrahma bhuvana lokan. What to speak of this moon planet? It is very near. Even if you go to the topmost planet, which is known as Brahma Loka, that is in your front, you can see every day, every night, how many lokas and planets are there. But you cannot go there. You are simply trying to go to the nearest planet. That is also failure. So what is your scientific improvement? But there is possibility. Brahma bhuvana lokan. You can go. The material scientist's calculation is that if one goes forward for 40,000 of years in the light year speed, then one can approach the topmost planet of this material world. So at least in the modern scientific calculation, it is impossible. But one can go. There is process that we have tried to explain in our small booklet, Easy Journey to Other Planets. By yogic process, one can go any planet he likes. That is the yogic perfection. When a yogi becomes perfect, he can go to any planet he likes, and the yoga practice goes on. Unless the yogi thinks himself that he has made himself perfect to travel to any planet he likes, that is perfection of yoga practice. So these are the perfection of life, not that teeny floating Sputnik. They do not know what is perfection of life. You can go anywhere. A living entity's name is Sarvagaha. Sarvagaha means one who can go anywhere he likes. Just Narada Muni. Narada Muni can travel anywhere he likes, either in the spiritual world or in the material world. So you can also do that. There is possibility. There was a Durvasa Muni, great yogi. Within 1 year he traveled all over the universe and went to Vishnu Loka and again came back. That is recorded in the history. So these are the perfections of life. And how this perfection can be attained? By understanding Krishna. Yasmin vigyate sarvam eva vigyatam bhavanti. The Upanishad says, if you simply understand Krishna, then all the things can be understood very easily. Krishna consciousness is such a nice thing. So today, this evening, we are talking about Radhastami. We are trying to understand the chief potency of Krishna. Radharani is the pleasure potency of Krishna. As we understand from Vedic literature, Krishna has many varieties of potencies. Parasya Shakti Vividhaya Shruyate. Just like the same example, as a big man has got many assistants and secretaries, so that he hasn't got to do anything personally. Simply by his will, everything is done. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has got varieties of energies, and everything is being done so nicely. Just like this material energy. This material world where we are now living, this is called material energy. Bahiranga Shakti. The Sanskrit name Bahiranga, external energy of Krishna. So how nicely it is being done, everything in the material energy. That is also explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Maya dekshana prakriti suyate sa characharam. Under my superintendence, the material energy is working. The material energy is not blind. On the background, there is Krishna. Maya dekshana prakriti. Prakriti means this material energy. This is external energy. Similarly, there is another energy which is internal energy. By the internal energy, the spiritual world is being manifested. Paras tasmatu bhavaha anya. Another energy, para, superior, transcendental, the spiritual world. As this material world is being manipulated under the external energy, similarly the spiritual world is also conducted by the internal potency. That internal potency is Radharani. Today is Radharani's appearance day. So we should try to understand Radharani's feature. Radharani is the pleasure potency, Radhini Shakti. Anandamayo Abhyasat. In the Vedanta Sutra, the absolute truth is described as Anandamaya. Always in pleasure potency. That Anandamaya potency. Just like Ananda. When you want Ananda, pleasure, you cannot have it alone. Alone, you cannot enjoy. When you are in the circles of friends or family or other associates, you feel pleasure. Just like I am speaking. The speaking is very pleasing when there are many persons here. I cannot speak alone here. That is not Ananda. I can speak here at night, dead of night. Nobody here. That is not Ananda. Ananda means there must be others. So, because Krishna, the absolute truth, is Anandamaya, therefore, Eko Bahushama, he has become many. We are also Krishna's part and parcel to give pleasure to Krishna. And the chief pleasure potency is Radharani. So, Krishna is Param Brahman. As you know from Bhagavad Gita, when Arjuna understood Bhagavad Gita, he affirms Krishna, Param Brahma Param Dhama Pavitram Paramam Bhavan. So, Krishna is Param Brahman. So, in this material world, we see that a great saintly person, simply to enjoy Brahmananda, he gives up everything of material enjoyment. He becomes sannyasi, Aham Brahmasmi. Just to understand that he is in Brahman realization. So if one has to give up everything material for Brahman realization, do you think that Param Brahman, the Supreme Brahman, can enjoy anything material? No. Krishna's enjoyment is nothing material. This point should be understood. For Brahman realization, we are giving up everything material. And how Param Brahman can enjoy anything material? This question has been very much nicely discussed by Jiva Goswami. So when Param Brahman, first of all, the Param Brahman information is not there in this material world. Little Brahman information is there, or little Paramatma information is there, but not Param Brahman or Bhagwan information. Therefore it is said, Manushyanam sahasreshu kasachit etati siddhaye. Siddhaye means to understand Brahman or Paramatma. But out of many such persons who have realized Brahman and Paramatma, hardly a person can know Krishna. And first of all, we can understand about Krishna's pleasure potency. If I want to know some big man, that is one process. And without knowing that big man, how I can understand about his internal affairs? Similarly, if we do not understand Krishna, how can we understand how Krishna is enjoying? That is not possible. But the Goswamis, they are giving us information. What is the pleasure potency of Krishna? that is Srimati Radharani. So, we have described about Radha Krishna loving affairs in our teachings of Lord Chaitanya in page 264. If you have got this book, you can read it. How the reciprocation of loving affairs of Radha Krishna is there, transcendental. So our today prayer to Radharani, we pray to Radharani because she is pleasure potency of Krishna. Krishna means all attractive. But Radharani is so great that she attracts Krishna. Krishna is all attractive and she is attractive of Krishna. So, what is the position of Srimati Radharani? We should try to understand this day and offer our obeisances to Radharani. Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi, Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Our business is Radharani, you are so dear to Krishna. So we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari, Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Radharani is Hari Priya, very dear to Krishna. So if you approach Krishna through Radharani, through the mercy of Radharani, then it becomes very easy. If Radharani recommends that this devotee is very nice, then Krishna immediately accepts. However full I may be, because it is recommended by Radharani, Krishna accepts. Therefore in Vrindavan you will find all the devotees, they are chanting more Radharani's name than Krishna's. Wherever you will go, you will find the devotees are addressing Jai Radhe. You will find still in Vrindavan, they are glorifying Radharani. They are more interested worshipping Radharani. Because however fallen I may be, if some way or other I can please Radharani, then it is very easy for me to understand Krishna. Otherwise, Manushyanam sahaseshu kaschidadadi siddhe etatam api siddhanam kaschid vyaktimam tatvata. If you go by the speculative process to understand Krishna, it will take many lives. But if you take devotional service, just try to please Radharani and Krishna will be gotten very easily. Because Radharani can deliver Krishna. She is so great devotee, the emblem of Mahabhagavat. Even Krishna cannot understand what is Radharani's quality. Even Krishna, although he says, Vedaham samatitani, I know everything, still he fails to understand Radharani. Radharani is so great. He says, actually Krishna knows everything. In order to understand Radharani, Krishna accepted the position of Radharani. Krishna wanted to understand the potency of Radharani. Krishna thought that I am full. I am complete in every respect. But still, I want to understand Radharani. Why? This propensity made Krishna obliged to accept the propensities of Radharani to understand Krishna himself. These are of course very transcendental great science. One who is advanced in Krishna consciousness and well conversant with Shastras, they can understand. But still, we can discuss from the Shastra. When Krishna wanted to understand himself, he took the tendency of Srimati Radharani, and that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Radha Bhava Duti Suvalitam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, but he has accepted the propensities of Radharani. As Radharani is always in feelings of separation of Krishna, similarly the position of Radharani, Lord Chaitanya was feeling separation of Krishna. That is the teaching of Lord Chaitanya. Feelings of separation, not meeting. The process of devotional service taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his disciplic succession is how to feel separation from Krishna. That is Radharani's position, always feeling the separation. The Goswamis, they also, when they were in Vrindavan, they never said that I have seen Krishna. Although they were the most perfect, they never said I have seen Krishna. Their prayers were like this: He Radhe Vraja Devike, He Nanda Suno Kuta. He Radhe, Radharani, He Radhe Vraja Devike Cha. Radharani does not remain alone. She remains always with her friends Vraja Devi, Lalita or Vishakha, and other damsels of Vrindavan. So the Goswami are praying in their mature stage when they were living at Vrindavan. They were praying In this way, Hey Radhe, Vrajadevike Chalalite, Hey Nanda Sunakuta, where Radharani, where you are? Where are your associates? Where you are, Nanda Suno, the son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna, where you are? They are searching after. They never said, I have seen Krishna dancing with gopis last night. I saw. This is Sahajiya. That is not mature devotee. They are called Sahajiya. They take everything very cheap. Krishna, very cheap. Radharani, very cheap. As if they can see every night. No. The Goswamis do not teach us like that. They are searching after. Hey Radhe Vrajadevi Ke Chalamate, Hey Nanda Suno Kutha, Shri Govardhana Padapa, Kalpatale, Kalindi Vane Kutha. Are you there under the golden hill or on the banks of Yamuna? Kalindi Vane Kutha. Goshanta Vichitakata Vrajapure Darya Mahavivalo. Their business was crying like this. Where you are? Where you are? Radharani, where you are? Lalita, Vishaka, the associates of Radharani, where you are? Krishna, are you near Golden Hill or on the bank of Yamuna? Goshanta Vidya Sarvato Vrajapure. So the whole tract of Vrindavan, they were crying and searching after them. Kaider Mahavivalo, as if madman. Kaider Mahavivalo. Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghu Yugo Sri Jiva Gopaloko. So we have to follow the teachings of the Goswamis. How to take out Krishna and Radharani, Vrindavan or within your heart. That is the process of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's bhajan. Feeling of separation, Vipralamba Seva. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Feeling the separation of Krishna, he was falling down on the sea. He was coming out of his rest room or his bedroom and going out at dead of night. Nobody knew where he has gone. So that was his searching. This process of devotional service is taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not that very easily. We have seen Krishna or seen Radharani in Ras Leela. No, not like that. Feel the separation. The more you feel separation from Krishna, you should understand that you are advancing. Don't try to see Krishna artificially. Be advanced in separation feeling and then it will be perfect. That is the teaching of Lord Chaitanya. Because with our material eyes, we cannot see Krishna. Ataha Sri Krishna Namadina Bhaved Grahyam Indriya. With our material senses, we cannot see Krishna. We cannot hear about Krishna's name. But Sevan Mukhe Hijivado. When you engage yourself in the service of the Lord, where the service begins? Jivado. The service begins from the tongue, not from the legs, eyes or ears. It begins from the tongue. Sevan Mukhehi Jivado. If you begin service through your tongue, how? Chant Hare Krishna. Use your tongue. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And take Krishna Prasadam. The tongue has got two business. To articulate sound, Hare Krishna, and take prasadam. By this process, you will realize Krishna. Devotees, Haribo, Prabhupada. Don't try to see Krishna. You cannot see Krishna with your material eyes. Neither you can hear about him with your material ears. Neither you can touch. But if you engage your tongue in the service of the Lord, then he will reveal himself to you. Here I am. That is wanted. So feel separation of Krishna just like Radharani, as Lord Chaitanya teaches us, and engage your tongue in the service of the Lord. Then one day, when you are mature, you will see Krishna eye to eye. Thank you very much. Devotees, Ribol, all glories to his divine grace. Gumaji, laptop on the 463.
Very good.
Yes, another thing. 25 transcendental qualities of Srimati Radharani. First, she is sweetness personified. Second, she is fresh young girl. Third, her eyes are always moving. Fourth, she is always brightly smiling. Fifth, she possesses all auspicious marks on her body. Sixth, she can agitate Krishna by the flavor of her person. 7. She is expert in art of singing. 8. She can speak very nicely and sweetly. 9. She is expert in presenting feminine attractions. 10. She is modest and gentle. 11. She is always very merciful. 12. She is transcendently cunning. 13. She knows how to dress nicely. 14. She is always shy. 15. She is always respectful. 16. She is always patient. 17. She is very great. 18. She is enjoyed by Krishna. 19. She is situated on the highest devotional platform. 20. She is the abode of love of residents of Gokul. 21. She can give shelter to all kinds of devotees. 22nd. She is always affectionate to superiors and inferiors. 23rd. She is always obliged by the dealings of her associates. 24th. She is the greatest among Krishna's girlfriends. 25th. She always keeps Krishna under her control. Prayers to Srimati Radharani. Shri Pratna Paddhati Stabha Mala.
You can give this. Give this chapter.
इसको छोड़ दीजिए इसे इस अध्याय को छोड़ दीजिए
Next is the Srila Prabhupada's presentation of Srimati Radharani by Sasrup Maharaj. Knowledge about Srimati Radharani, her relationship with Krishna, her relationship with her Sakhis and Gopi Manjaris is expanded throughout the confidential literatures of Gaudiya Vaishnavism. In recent years, these books are becoming more accessible to English-speaking readers. We are becoming more aware, at least theoretically, that devotion to Srimati Radharani is the topmost expression of Krishna consciousness. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says in one of his songs, Srimati Radhika is the teacher of the mellow of conjugal love. The pure love between Radha and Madhav is meant to be discussed and contemplated. But there are many warnings that one should never mistake Srimati Radharani and her affairs with Krishna to be material dealings of man and woman. There is a danger in being curious about Srimati Radharani but not hearing in the proper way. I wanted to therefore impart Prabhupada's presentation of Srimati Radharani and confining myself to whatever I have found in his books and lectures and talks. You will find that although Srila Prabhupada was on one hand very reserved in speaking about Radharani, he nevertheless imparted to us a sweet and pure understanding of Radharani and the practical means to advance ourselves in her service. In his translations and purport to relevant sections of Nectar of Devotion, Krishna book and Chaitanya Chaitamrit, Prabhupada deals in all the intricacies of Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna. I have gone through these many sections, specially looking for statements where Prabhupada is speaking personally his own realization in his own word. I can remember Srila Prabhupada speaking about Srimati Radharani in the summer of 1966 at 26 2nd Avenue in New York City. I always remember Prabhupada on Radhastami because I received first initiation from Prabhupada on this day, September 23rd, 1966. Prabhupada's qualification for initiation were easy in those days, so I could have been initiated at the first initiation in ISKCON, which was on Janmashtami Day, 1966. But I didn't feel ready for the surrender of my so-called free activities. It seemed too much to give up, and so I passed up the initiation. But a few days after that, I began to regret that I didn't get initiated. Then I heard from one devotee that Prabhupada was planning to hold another initiation in 2 weeks on the occasion of appearance day of Srimati Radharani. So then Prabhupada began to explain to us something about Srimati Radharani. He said that on the Jalmashtami we had to fast all day until midnight because Krishna is very strong and hard. But on Radhashtami we would only have to fast until noon because Radharani is soft and kind. I therefore decided that I would ask Prabhupada if I could get initiated on Radharani's appearance day. What had seemed too hard 2 weeks previously on Krishna's birthday now seemed easier under the protection of Srimati Radharani. Prabhupada's first explanation of Radharani is an unforgettable sutra. Prabhupada said that Srimati Radharani is the best devotee of Krishna because she loves him the most. Prabhupada then explained that Srimati Radharani was interested in the welfare of all devotees and that we could pray to her. He said, you can't go directly to Krishna, but if Krishna's devotee is pleased with you, then he or she will recommend you to Krishna and Krishna will be obliged to give you his mercy. This is especially true if you get the mercy of Srimati Radharani. Prabhupada put knowledge of Radharani in the very first book that he translated in America, Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, 1967, Krishna book, 1968, and Nectar of Devotion in 1969. In the Nectar of Devotion, under the category of attracting Krishna, the characteristics of pure devotional service, Prabhupada explained the principle of approaching Krishna through Radha. To perform devotional service means to follow in the footsteps of Radharani. And the devotees in Vrindavan put themselves under the care of Radharani in order to achieve perfection in their devotional service. In other words, devotional service is not an activity of material world. It is directly under the control of Radharani. In Bhagavad Gita, it is confirmed that the Mahatmas or great souls are under the protection of Daivi Prakriti, the internal energy Radharani. So being directly under the control of the internal potency of Krishna, devotional service attracts Krishna himself. Nectar of Devotion, page 16. Prabhupada's remark that Krishna was hard and Radharani was soft and kind is corroborated by a statement he made in the Nectar of Devotion under Krishna's quality of compassionate. Instead of offering obeisances to Krishna, devotees offer obeisances to his compassionate nature. Because Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it is very difficult to approach him. But the devotee is taking advantage of his compassionate nature, which is represented by Radharani. Always pray to Radharani for Krishna's compassion. Nectar of Devotion, page 176. Prabhupada sometimes describes Radharani as Krishna's tender-hearted female counterpart. And for praying to Radharani, the easiest way is to address her in Hare Krishna mantra, which is made up of names of Radha and Krishna. Oh, energy of Lord, Hara, oh Lord, please engage me in your service. Prabhupada did not broadcast explicitly the glories of Radharani as much as he did those of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And yet, it does not inform us that, according to Gaudiya Vaishnava Siddhanta, Srimati Radharani is the queen of Vrindavan. She has the power to attract even Krishna, as stated by Prabhupada in the Nectar of Devotion. Quote, Krishna attracts everyone, but devotional service attracts Krishna. The symbol of devotional service is the highest degree is Radharani. Krishna is called Madana Mohana, which means he is so attractive that he can defeat the attraction of thousands of cupids. But Radharani is still more attractive, for she can attract Krishna. Therefore, devotees call her Madan Mohana Mohini, the attractor of Cupid. Nectar of Devotion 16. Unquote. Why then was Srila Prabhupada so reserved and grave in speaking about Radharani? One reason Prabhupada was reserved was that we were such neophytes. Also, Prabhupada was preaching in the West, and it is the nature of materialistic persons outside of Vedic culture to take Radha Krishna affairs as ordinary sex affairs. Prabhupada explained this with the example of the cow who experienced fire in the barn. Once there was a fire in a barn, and a cow became so frightened that thereafter, whenever she saw the color red, she panicked. In a similar way, conditioned souls are so traumatized or addicted to sex pleasure that as soon as they see a picture of Krishna embracing Radha, they think, yes, that's the same as what I feel for my girlfriend. Prabhupada was also very afraid that if the devotees took prematurely to Radha Krishna affairs, they would become Prakrita Sahajiyas, those who take confidential matters too cheaply. He told about a man who said, whenever I hear the name Radha, I always think of a barber's wife whose name is Radha. In the preface to Krishna book, Prabhupada begins, quote, in this Western country, when someone sees a cover of a book like Krishna, he immediately asks, who is Krishna? Who is the girl with Krishna? But it's significant that Prabhupada then completes the preface by answering the question, who is Krishna? But it does not mention who Radha is. Another example of Prabhupada's reserved mood is that he instructed us not to show the feet of the Radharani deity, although Krishna's feet should be exposed. We can get further insight into Prabhupada's presentation by study of some of the lectures that he gave on the occasion of Radhastami. One lecture was on 30th August 1968 in Montreal. Prabhupada explained that Radha Krishna philosophy is a very great philosophy and is understood on the liberated stage, not on the conditioned stage. He said, on the conditioned stage, we worship Lakshmi Narayan by following regulative principles. Quote, so, in this Vidhi Marg, when you have to love for God, when you have no love for God or Krishna, you have to follow the regulative principles and automatically there is practice when practicing. Just like you practice this Mridanga playing, in the beginning it is not in order, but when you become well versed in practice, the sound will become so nice. Unquote. This is an interesting example because in 1968 the devotees were just learning to play Mridanga and their bits were very rudimentary. But Prabhupada encouraged them and they would get better. And we see that nowadays in ISKCON there are many expert Mridanga players who have learned by practice and by associating with other good players. Quote, similarly, when we are engaged by regulative principles in the worship of Radha Krishna, that is called okay. Quote, similarly, when we are engaged in regulative principles in the worship of Radha Krishna, that is called Vidhi Marg. And actually when you are on the love platform, that is called Raga Marg. So without Vidhi Marg, if anyone wants to learn the Raga Marg immediately, that is foolishness. That is foolishness. Nobody can pass MA examination without going through the regulative principles of primary schools and colleges. So therefore I do not indulge in discussions of Radha and Krishna so easily. Rather go on with the regulative principle at the present moment. Gradually as you become purified, as you become on the transcendental platform, you will understand what Radha Krishna. Unquote. So Prabhupada is very strict about not jumping ahead, but at the same time, he indicated that the path of Vidhi Marg will lead upward, and as certain as regular Mridanga playing will lead to expert Mridanga playing. Don't try to understand Radha Krishna very quickly. It is a very big subject. If you want to understand Radha Krishna very quickly, then there will be so many Prakrita Sahajiyas. In India, there are Prakrita Sahajiyas, just like Radha Krishna dancing. Radha Krishna has become a plaything. The painting Radha Krishna, Krishna is kissing Radha, Radha is kissing. These are all nonsense. Radha Krishna philosophy has to be understood by the liberated person, not by the conditioned soul. So we shall await for the fortune moment when we are liberated. Then we shall understand Radha Krishna Pranaya Virakti. In 1968 lecture, Prabhupada then asked for a harmonium and he began to sing Rup Goswami song, Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Although Prabhupada was very cautious in his own way, he nevertheless distributed the sweetness of Srimati Radharani's love for Krishna. In 1968 lecture, he went on to explain Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Daite. Quote, she is so dear to Krishna. Unquote. Everyone is trying to love Krishna, but Krishna is trying to love somebody. How great she is. Just try to understand. The whole world, the whole universe, all living entities trying to love Krishna. Krishna Prem. Krishna Prem is so valuable, but Krishna is after Radharani. Just see how Radharani is great. Try to understand the greatness of Radharani. She is so great. We have to offer our respect. And how is she? Gokula Taruna, Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Taruni. Taruni means young girls. You will see the pictures. They are all young girls. She is the most beautiful. She is enchanting to the young girls also. She is so beautiful. Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite. Damodara Vardhana Veshe. Yes. Okay, good. She always dresses herself so nicely that Damodar Krishna becomes attracted by her beauty. She is the only lovable object of Krishna and she is the queen of Vrindavan. You will find in Vrindavan. If you go to Vrindavan, everyone is worshipping Radharani. Rani means queen. They are always speaking Jai Radhe, Radharani. All devotees in Vrindavan, they are worshippers of Radharani.
Thank you.
यार तुलसी तो तुलसी तुलसी तुलसी
I have a name.
Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma Vando Mohi Savadhana Mate Yahara Prasade Bhai Ye Bhavatariya Jai Krishna Prapti Hoya Hoite Guru Mukha Padma Vakya Chite Kariya Ekya Arana Kari Hamane Asha Shri Guru Charane Rati Aise Uttama Gati Ye Prasade Pure Sarva Asha चक्षुदान दे लो जय जन्मे जन्मे प्रभु से दिव्य ज्ञान हृदय प्रकाशिता प्रेम भक्ति आहते अविद्या विनाश जाते वेदे गाय आहार चरिता श्री गुरु करुणा सिंधु अधम जनार बंधु लोकनाथ लोकेर जीवाना हा हा प्रभु करो दया देह मोरे पद छाया हा हा प्रभु करो दया देह मोरे पद छाया एवे आज घुषुते भुवाना एवे आज घुषुते भुवाना जय प्रभुपदा 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 जय प्रभुपदा प्रभुपाद 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 जय जय प्रभुपाद जय जय गुरुदेव 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 जय जय गुरुदेव नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंदा श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंदा हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Pray.